I'm going to be presenting to you about how and what we have done in our club. And I'm from Vic Park Toastmasters. Vic Park Toastmasters, well, sharing a bit of an experience of my first time that I went into Vic Park. That was about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I stepped into a club which was just had 5 members in the club. While we had 5 members, I think what really impacted and welcomed me to that club was actually the environment, and two was the members, the kind of support that I received. When I first started and entered the club, although there were 5 people, the impression that it had on me was, of course, so positive that I've actually taken on other roles in the club. Now, the first thing that happened when I entered the club was the environment. It was actually so easy for me to get to the club. So when I entered the club first time, and when I was invited, the environment, the details that was given to me to get to the club was so easy that those were not barriers to the club. As you can imagine, the first time when I entered a club, and I was an aspiring, Toastmaster who had no idea. I was feeling anxious. I was feeling nervous. So all those small barriers of clarity in giving me the directions and getting to the club on time and being welcomed really helped me just to set the tone for me to have a positive environment. Now, then came the welcoming. What were the things that happened during that meeting? Lasted a long time in my mind till today. Now, firstly, the first thing that was really helpful for me was welcoming me and giving me a clear understanding of what to expect during the meeting. So, the first tip that I'd like to share today, and which I actually learned from there, was about welcoming guests. I think it was really important to give them an understanding of what to expect in a meeting, how it's run, and take some time to introduce members to the new guests, giving them an overview of an agenda with clear instructions on who they can ask for more questions. So when I was first seated in the club, I was seated with an experienced club member. And that experienced club member could take time to explain to me about what was happening during that meeting instead of leaving me with confusion till the end of the meeting. Now, then came another part of the welcoming that I really loved was instead of welcoming me and overwhelming me with information, I was given bite-sized information that was discussed verbally and then information that was given to me via email, which means I could take my time and I had a contact person to clarify these information that I needed to. Now let's then go on to the second part. After the welcoming, once I was a member, what was done well? Now, once I became a member, I was not just led to swim and navigate on my own. I think the club climate really helped me in being here for 3 years and taking on committee roles and striving more. There were two things that I want to share. One was encouragement. If it was not for the encouragement, I would have found that I wouldn't know whether I was doing the right thing. Was I being on the right path of getting myself better? So, how did they do that? Paired up with mentors. Very quickly, I was given at that stage when I joined, mentorship was not fully in works. So, I had an informal mentor who was really guiding me in terms of how do I navigate the pathway? What do I do in terms of preparing for a speech? Who do I speak to if I want to put my hands up for the next speech? So, there was a mentor who was guiding me. Within the supports, one thing that we then went on to introduce was icebreaker. Now, one of the things during the journey of Toastmasters, I found that icebreaker is one of the things that really sets up for success and encouragement for a new client. And how do we do that? I think one of the recent times in our club in Vic Park, we introduced this key, which is a key from, which is not cut, but it symbolizes that it unlocks your potential to public speaking. That was one way. And recently, when I was in my club tour of in Singapore, I found that what they did was to do a stand-up ovation. So, find how in your club, one way that you could recognize and make it memorable for your members to feel welcomed and feel encouraged. Now, we talked about one thing, which was about guests. How do we encourage the guests when we welcome them, and how do we keep the members on in your membership? How do we encourage them? And one way I spoke about is acknowledging their efforts and setting up mentors. And the other example, which is really important, and I come to this at the third point, is being an example. I think one way that I found personally that really was helpful in the environment of Toastmasters, and it's happening today as well, is when failures happen. Like my slides was not uploading. I think it's about the encouragement we get from each other, and I think Toastmasters is always a platform where we can fail and we can learn from it. And failure means we have tried and we have attempted. And I think that is how we always strive to turn up again. And especially as new members, people who are coming, sometimes, um, often very quickly, we are encouraging them to go off notes and speak without notes. Personally, in our club, we say, as long as you're starting, that's a step forward. Do not overwhelm yourself. So I think really encouraging them right from the start, welcoming them about possibility of making failures and learning from there is really important as well. Now, in a nutshell, what I would like to actually bring together uh, to a bit of discussion today, which we have talked about, is in setting a club climate. I think there's three phases that it can happen. Firstly, it's about this phase when a new member starts to come in as a guest, and the second phase when they have turned into a member, and the third stage where potentially you're turning into a mentor and you're guiding and you're setting example. And I would like to also remind that, for myself and for everyone, that setting an example is not when you have a few years of experience under your belt. You start setting an example right from the first day you step into Toastmasters. With that, I encourage you to think about what one step that you could take by the end of 2025 to create a positive climate in your club and share it with us. And with that, I thank you. Thank you very much.